I am willing to argue and take it to the grave, and you just tell me not one of three answers. I get it. You're a fucking idiot, or you're absolutely correct as a response to what I'm about to say.
Okay.
OverHaul has the best quirk that is not one for all for one. And New Order. New Order is just fucking unfair.
Okay.
So those three, exclude those. And he is the strongest character that is not involved in the final war. And my stance for this is OverHaul, in my opinion, literally has, like, whatever quirk Decay was to start, like, because you only got half of it, to me, that's literally OverHaul's quirk. It can create, destroy, he can manipulate pretty much whatever the fuck he wants. Like, that feels like the completed version of Decay. Now, we're never going to fully know that, which is fine. I don't necessarily need to know the final, whatever the completed version of Decay was. But I will stand on, I've been an OverHaul fan for years, even when I took my break. It was part of why I took my break, because I liked him so much, the upcoming arc felt like meh to me. OverHaul has the best quirk that is not one for all for one, New Order, and he is the strongest character. I'll even say he's the strongest character besides those three. Besides all for one for all, New Order. So that what all for one, or one for all, I'm sorry, means Midoriya and All Might are both tapped out of that conversation because they both have it. Am I crazy?
I think it's I don't think you're crazy. You say you're gonna definitively say it's the best quirk.
I think it is the best quirk because I don't know what the fuck he can't do.
Oh, he can't take a punch, fool.
Well, I mean, his body is not physically there. I get that, but
yeah. We're just talking
then,
quirks.
Like, if it's just the power of your quirk, it's fucking insane. Because it doesn't. He's mostly uses it as like a similar to Decay, where it's mostly destructive, but it doesn't have to be. Like, he can just, like, even when he fucking redoes his body and like chimeras himself at the end of the fight, it's like he can literally fix himself. He can do, if he wanted to be a doctor, he could doctor himself.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's not an amazing quirk. I think it's like, I think I agree. I think it's one of the best quirks. Because he can fuse people together, which is really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Hot cold's really good. I think if we're gonna talk, like, I think unique powers, reassemble, disassemble is like sick. And like really the only thing that beats him is Togata with intangibility. Oh, yeah, I don't think you're crazy. I think that's a fair, like, if we're excluding like all the other nut quirks. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not excluding. I'm excluding those three because those three for plot reasons. You're just
wait. You're excluding Decay? You're
I'm not excluding Decay. I'm excluding One for All. All for One,
think,
and New Order, because I think those are just plot wise. Those three quirks. Are...
I think One for All is a lackluster. I think One for All is probably like the worst quirk. Damn. But I think it's meant to be the worst quirk, because in the same way that, like,
I'm not mad at the take. I'm just
it's not me digging at the main character like I think a lot of people do. No, One for All is meant to be the worst quirk because it's it compartmental, or that's not right. It takes in, right, and it takes like, it took like 100 years for it to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Where it's like,
okay,
like
the core or the origin of the quirk isn't as crazy. It's just manifested into something.
Exactly. Yeah. It compounds is the word I'm looking at. It's a compounding quirk, and so like quirks that require. Honestly, I wouldn't put what's her name? Aerie? Aries' quirk is also like an insane quirk, and when she like is in her prime, the
Adult Aries
ability,
terrifying.
yeah, right, like that quirk fully manifested and not in the body of like a 6-year-old girl is insane. Um, but One for All is like worse. It's like the worst
Okay.
compounding quirk because it takes over 100 years for it to be worth the shit.
Then do
And
we?
then it takes even longer because at its best is with All Might, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for it to reach its like fully cooked, it has to wait like another 40 years. So like 140 years down the line, it's a really good quirk. If I'm fighting this fool in a fight, I think
Need a
I
little
think I
sooner
can
than 40 years.
I think I can beat him in less than 140 years. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, with that same argument, then is
yeah.
it, okay. So I wasn't. I like I said, I kind of defaulted because again, those are the story. Like those being the core of the story. They're obviously going to get more of an emphasis than any other quirk. And
Mm-hmm.
then World Order's just broken, or New Order. I'm sorry, is just broken. Could I then make a case? Because you've given me the window now. I would argue that Overhaul's quirk then is better than anything but New Order, because technically, All for One is just the ability to steal quirks. So it's not.
For
It's
me, I think
dependent.
no. I think All for One is better
The ability to steal shit.
because he could steal
Yeah,
Overhaul's quirk. You see what I'm saying?
that's
Like, and
valid.
now, like, All for One as a quirk is all of the upside of One for All
Mm-hmm.
with like none of the downside. Unless if you're a psychopath, because you're taking in all of these different personalities into your head and all these different like vestiges.
Which he was a
And
psycho.
yeah, like if you're that's the drawback, right? You have all of these things, like you have to constantly be holding all of these things down and keeping them at bay, because like anything can like shake the core and like wake them up. Um,
That's
if
valid.
you're a psychopath, like all for one was like, who gives a shit if I'm hearing voices in my head? I don't care. They can keep fucking yapping, bitches. You lose. You're not better than me. So like,
I
and
would
so
love.
they become dejected and like they go, okay, well, like we can't fight back.
I would love
I think he has the best quirk. I think
All for
him
One.
and God, I
Do you
think
think Aries quirk's
Monoma.
better than New Order?
No,
Okay.
I think Aries' quirk is a top 5 though.
Oh, I agree. I think that would be.
I think Rewind is insane.
I think in no particular order, just if you're naming off the top five, yes, all for One, New Order, Rewind. I'm throwing Overhaul's quirk in there. Okay, we both. I'm rolling with you with One for All is not that crazy as a quirk. What would
It's
we
not a
say
good quirk.
is what's making the top five then? If we've got Rewind, I wish for the name Overhaul's quirk, but I'm just calling it Overhaul. New Order, All for One.
Hot
I
cold.
You think Hot Cold? I don't want to put Decay,
I
and that's because as crazy as
I
Sugar
think
Rocky was, I don't think Decay itself, by the end of it, was what they made him fight without a quirk for so long because they just
Decay is also, I think Decay is insane. I think Decay is really, really strong, and honestly, it probably deserves to be on that list. Decay is also a manufactured quirk. So Decay, not stripped down to its being just Decay, where it was a quirk that could destroy and create, is 100%. I would honestly say it's probably better than New Order,
so that's again, but that's where I think Overhaul's
because
quirk
it's such a
works like that. And that's why I think his quirk is so insane. Is I think he works to whatever quirk decay was before it was just decay. I think that's what it would essentially function as.
Yeah, but also like
I'm not mad at Hot Cold being top 5.
Hot Cold's insane. Like when Shoto goes, "Oh, I don't need to make ice. I don't need to like use ice to strengthen fire. I can use fire to strengthen ice." I was like, that's insane. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. And nobody reading the manga thought that. It was like, oh, fully realized he's going to be like an unstoppable endeavor, and Horikoshi went, no, he's Shoto. He is not Endeavor. And he can make his ice as cold as he needs to, because he can go as hot as he needs to on the other side. Hot Cold is broken, in my opinion.
I agree. I will just
like the other nuts quirk, and you're not gonna like me for saying this. Hard. Hard is an insane quirk.
I hope you guys all enjoyed listening to Matt on the podcast. He's just been
dude. Let's be real.
No, okay. So
there is no
hard, but it's a
what.
Hear me out for a second, and this is another character I'm kind of.
It's not a top 5, but it's like a nuts quirk. Like when you're not dealing with rewind, or honestly, rewind probably like doesn't work on it, because it would rewind the hardness, and you just keep like getting harder. So like, rewind probably doesn't work on it.
I want to make an argument for. I don't know if it's just all considered Hellflame, but specifically Dabi's version. Because
he just doesn't, because it's hotter than Endeavor's.
And he just doesn't have, like, he's super fucked up. So it's like, Shoto is like, okay, I'm going to try to fix the body with quirks. Endeavor's body can handle really high heat, but he just maxes out. If you theoretically could sustain that, like, nobody could be around Dabi, and he was going fucking, like, people,
Dabi melted like everybody.
The idea, and I get it, and I love Shoto too, but people are like, "Oh man, yeah, Shoto, I could like Shoto beating Dabi." I'm like, Dabi kind of took himself out, and the entire Endeavor family had to be like, "Hey, all of us together, we can kind of touch you." Like his heat,
and then Shoto has to come in and be like, "Freeze this motherfucker!" Like, I'm using my heat and maxing out that so I can max out ice, because that is the only way I can stop this fool.
And I'm like, again, does Shoto get the official win? Yes. But if we just talking about 1v1 and Dabi's not just on a time limit because he cooks himself too hard.
He does cook himself, yeah.
Like, and again, I don't know if that's just considered, if that's just Hellflame. I don't remember. It didn't get, I don't think, did they ever give his name, like his quirk, an actual name?
I think it's just, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure they do.
Because the anime always just kept, to keep the secret, always just said quirk unknown. And it was just like, oh, all we know is he has a firepower, and it's just like, okay. And I don't think he ever gets revisited once the reveal of, oh, that's the lost brother, that's Toya.
Yeah, they just call it Blue Flame.
Okay. So it's like Blue Flame, for just, again, in all of anime and manga, fire is just a really easy power to demonstrate because it's fucking fire, it's destructive, and he has one of the more destructive pure outright fires in like all of anime.
Yeah.
I'll give Bleach some love. It was cool. Not the story, not the entirety, but it was cool to see homie swing around fire and just shit out like a fucking tower of it behind himself, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Fuck a sword. I can literally light fire towers. And I'm like, yeah, I get why you're strong.